In this episode, I'll be adding chunks to my game. So, what are chunks? Well, chunks are for the world generation to help it break up the world into 16 by 16 by 256 high grid. Hope that explains chunks a tiny bit clearer. So, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so let's jump into our chunk script. So, I'll be there. Okay, so I'm going to put my for loop and all the rest into some functions where you can call inside our scripts, and you'll see why in a moment because it's necessary for our chunks. First, let's make a first void. Make sure you have it, by the way, outside the start function, so you can actually close that. So make sure it's outside the start function but inside our class. Will give us loads of errors. So void add voxel data to chunk, and then open and close brackets, and then inside this curly brackets, and we'll put, let's open our start function and copy our for loop. Just go Command X and paste into this. Good, into our function. Okay, so what you could do is you could just call it from here and just do a colon there, and that would work. But I also want to do another thing. So first, let's just in the curved brackets, let's go a vector 3, and let's name it position, pos. Okay. What I'm going to do is in the triangle index, I'm going to go plus pos, and I just need to, before I show you, I need to make one more function. Let's just close our add voxel data. Okay, sorry. And let's do the create mesh. Void create mesh. Good. In here, let's do the same thing as we did here. I'm not going to have anything inside the curved brackets. And let's copy everything we had in our start function, Command X, and paste it in the create mesh. And we can just go tab. There we go. And now in the start function, it's all nice and clean. We can first add voxel data to chunk. And I've forgotten purposely, I'll show you what. And then create mesh. And there we go. So if you've seen what I've forgotten, then good job. What happened is in here we must give it the value of position. So if I wanted, I could go, let's say 5. Well, of course we'd have to make it a vector 3, but you get the gist. So what we could do is we could go transform.position in here. And if we wanted to, we could go plus transform right, and when we played it, it would move right by 1. Okay, I just undid that quick. So, and before we jump in Unity, by the way, I just got this one little thing wrong. Go Command X. We don't want all those variables in our create mesh function. We want them up here. Okay, we want them up there. Delete, and delete. Good. And when we press play, nothing should change. Good. Okay. And now if I am correct, if we go transform.position plus transform.right, let's say, and go to Unity, and if we press play now, even though transform doesn't look like it changed, the mesh has moved by 1 on the right. And you can see how that might be helpful when we're making our chunk. We'll just run that again and again using a for loop. So let's go into Visual Studio Code quick, and let's write that for loop. So before I write that for loop, I need to go in voxel data. I need to make 2 static read-only variables, a chunk width and a chunk height. Public static read-only int chunk width. I need to make the equal to 5. And by the way, I haven't optimized it yet, and you'll see the problem why. So unless you have a Frontier supercomputer, then you'll probably want to make this a low number, and I'll show you why in Unity. Just make another one called chunk height, and in our chunk script, in our start function, okay, let's just write 4. Okay, you can choose one of these. As you see, they have the little viewing here. I'm going to choose that one. Let's make let's make that Y, which is Y, by the way. Y is the up axis, so it's the height. So make that height. Of course, you can make it any letter here. It doesn't really matter. It's just for code purposes. But it is nice to know what the axis is. So voxel data dot chunk height. We get 2 options, chunk height. So I'll choose chunk height there. And we can just copy this for loop and paste it inside. So it will be a nested for loop. And let's do 3. Okay, for the 3 axes. And let's just change that from Y to X. And then from X finally to Z. Z and Z. Good. And in here, we'll do our add voxel data to chunk. Okay. Paste it in here. And instead of having all this, all these, I'll have X, comma, Y, comma, Z, which is all the axes we've given it right here. And we can just delete our add voxel data chunk and leave the create mesh outside the for loop. So when it's done, it will create the mesh. Okay. And sorry, I forgot to specify there's actually a vector 3, so it's giving me an error in Unity. So let's just run it in brackets. I need to make it a new vector 3. And there we go. And let's just go back to Unity quick. And if we press play, as you see, we have a chunk built. And before you go on building a chunk, if we go inside using WASD and holding right click, as you see, I have a little eye icon here. Hold right click while you're moving, and WASD like a video game. In a video game, as you see, all these blocks are inside stuff, and we don't really need all this extra mesh. In the next video, we'll be optimizing all this, and that's why I warned you not to have too many blocks in one chunk. So in next video, we'll be optimizing the mesh in episode 6. Hope you enjoyed episode 5. Bye!